don't think there's any excuse for it.
I think it's very sad, really, because something that they can't get over, isn't it, really, because it's with them all their life. You're going to look after the child and have an abortion.
I suppose it's not having daughters. It's a subject I've not thought about a lot. I think it's a shame that some girls do get themselves pregnant because they've not taken appropriate precautions.
You can't stop it sometimes. It's something that just comes about and it happens when two people meet and they're interested in one another.
I think they need more nurses to go to the community and or in halls whereby they can educate and talk to the teenagers about the pregnancy.
No, actually teenage pregnancy rates are declining. They've been declining pretty much for the last 30 years or so. My name's Dr. Kyla Ellis Sloan. I'm a university lecturer at Brighton University. I teach sociology and research mainly in social policy, and my particular research area is teenage motherhood, teenage pregnancy.
No, I didn't, but I'm glad to hear it.
Decrease? No, I didn't, no.
No, I didn't actually. I had no idea of that.
I could say the teenage pregnancy is a bit more increased at the moment in the whole world. It's not like just in this country only.
I would assume it was on the increase. I thought Britain held the record for teenage pregnancies.
We do have the highest teenage pregnancy rate in Europe, this is true. We do second only to America worldwide. However, the perception that teenage pregnancy is an epidemic is a real falsehood that's thrown around by a lot of the right-wing press. There have been some slight blips where perhaps it's risen by 1 or 2%, but the overall trend is that it is reducing.
Yes, I do, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
They are harshly judged because at the end of the day, as I say, it's not because they are children, it's because they don't understand it, the whole thing. The main thing is somebody has to educate them. They need more education, they need people to talk to them, they need more understanding because they are children at the end of the day.
I think they probably are, but not as harshly as they were in my day. I mean, if I'd have gone home and said that I was pregnant, I would have just been kicked out. I think possibly the parents of today have a little bit more compassion.
No, not necessarily, because it's a way of life now. It used to be taboo at one time. It used to be, as they say, swept under the carpet. And it's people understand now. People are more educated about it.
It's really hard. I've seen some young people in tears because of what they've had to put out in the street, you know.
The young parents that I work with and have worked with over the last few years very often talk to me about being spoken to on the street in very negative terms, being followed around stores by store detectives, security guards, having abuse thrown at them on buses simply by fact of being young parents.
But right down from the government, you know, are shedding out these things, you know, young people are costing us money, they only want to get a council house.
Teenage girls are promiscuous. None of the above is true. There is no academic evidence to cite any of that. Teenage mothers do not get priority places for council housing.
Most of the people are in private rent and they don't get a council house. They don't get any concessions over just because they have a baby. It's myths. My name's Catherine Collins. I run a course at Sussex Downs College in East Sussex for young parents.
Just with the general public out there. Carla.
The I Project is a course that is set up at Sussex Downs College, and it's for young people who are neat, who are neither in education or in employment. It was a case of getting young people back into education. That is the foremost, and that's our aim.
The groups that I've seen working across the South East have done an amazing job of engaging young women, getting them together, lifting their self-esteem, and just the simple fact of mixing with other people who are in the same situation themselves and providing the support that all parents need of whatever age. It's a really an amazing job that they do.
It's made me make new friends that are parents. My friends don't have babies, so you can get quite isolated because they'll be going out clubbing and you'll be at home with a baby. So I've met some good friends here who've got children, so we have similar things in common. I'm Izzy. I'm 19 and I have my son at 15, who he is now going to be 4 in 3 months. I think I get judged on a daily basis, wherever I am really. Like I can just be in the supermarket, and if my child's throwing a tantrum, then I always get a look or a tart or dirty looks, and it's just ridiculous.
People used to ask if I was still with her dad, if I knew who her dad was, you know, and I know I had a couple of comments about breastfeeding her. So yeah, and people, quite a lot of dirty looks as well.
I've seen it happen myself when I've been with them, when I took them to see Father Christmas, took them and their kids to see Father Christmas a few years ago, the way in which they were spoken to in the queues. And I think it's very unfair. Most of the young women do a really good job, work really hard at parenting and employment and education, all those other things that they have to juggle. And you know, they're not a homogenous group.
They're bringing up their children, and you know, they're bringing up the next generation, and we're treating them harshly. No, that doesn't seem right. The government does need to look at what they say and the views out there. And young parents can make damn good parents.
Like all parents, you know, there are good, there are bad, there are hardworking. You can't. There is this stereotype of the teenage mother benefit claimant who doesn't give a damn about her children. Just doesn't exist. You know, there are many, many different types of young parents out there.
In most of my experience over the last 3 years, I have seen young girls grow into young women.
I realise now, like, a lot what's important in life, and living by yourself as well, that makes you grow up loads, having to, you know, like, be careful with money and pay bills.
A lot more responsible, a lot more mature, and kind of see things a lot differently in life as well.
Many young women talk about having a child as being a turning point in their lives, a point at which they become more mature, they grow up, they move away from negative behaviours that they'd had before. They talk about being a parent in very positive terms.
When these young people were coming back into education, we were discovering more and more that school hadn't worked for them, that they had had discrimination at school, whether it be through their pregnancy, or for other reasons. And education, really, they thought there was no other door open to them. Yeah. The fact that they'd fallen pregnant, and the education, one parent was told, you've made your bed in it, now lie in it.
Depends upon the age of the children, I think, really. I think they try to impress upon them when they're too young. It doesn't really make any sense, does it, to them?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yes, it should, yeah.
Do you think that would benefit teenage rape?
Hugely, I think, yeah.
I don't know if it would help, but I think it should be compulsory.
To a certain degree, I think that that should be done through education in schools and that when children are beginning in their teens and growing up. I think that is a good idea for schools to do.
You know, we don't want people to live on benefits, but we need to be able to give them a chance. Where are they going? Who's going to employ them pregnant? Nobody. What college can they get into? Probably none. So what door is open for them? That's what we need to focus on. Doing what we're doing here, but on a bigger scale.
It needs to be more aware of how hard it is being a parent. So like people who, not just having that chat about, you know, like, oh, if you get pregnant, so people always think, oh, what won't happen to me, and if I get pregnant then, you know. But just saying, if you actually do get pregnant and you do have a baby, this is how hard it is. So people will actually think, yeah, actually, you know, I will think twice about it.
Tips for young parents. I mean, this came from just a little project that we did actually with a lady called Jackie, and she got some money from Operation Arts. Basically covers stories from young people, and it's just a really nice, warm-hearted book, and it looks at discrimination, it looks at some tips for young parents. And I think the fact it's, you know, that it says tips for young parents. This book just started as a little project, but I think that there's a massive need for this to grow. And one of the reasons I'm thinking that is because a lot of the PHSE lessons that go on in secondary schools don't, and all students have never come across, when they did their PHSE and sex education in school, nobody ever talked about young parenthood.
So was having a baby what you had expected?
No, never in a million years. I didn't really have a plan. I didn't have any goals. Like when I was that young, I didn't just went to school and saw my friends and just lived the life of 15-year-old, and then had Ollie. So it wasn't what I expected, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change it for the world.
I'm going to show you a space